All right. I hope that everybody can hear me now. If you cannot, if you can hear me, just like send a message, let me know, and we're getting started. Can you guys hear me or like you can't? Let me know, please.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Epic, epic. All right. So let's get started with that. Let me know like if it's choppy or anything. I'm just like working on making it work as much as possible. So let us announce this and like get going. Welcome to session 48 of the Alpha Sharks Educator sessions. And today I wanted to talk about, I was just like basically gonna start with like typical daily analysis, but there were a couple of questions that I had like previously, like not like normal questions, like people asking for guides on doing like certain stuff, and I'll be addressing those at the end of the session. So right now, I think most of y'all here will know how to use the Apple Sharks tool. If you're looking right here, you're seeing this is the MBCP gem, which basically stands for, which basically means that a project has like a good number of blue chip holders. I'm just like refreshing quickly over like keynotes here, like like keys that we should know, because like when we were looking at projects and whatnot. So today, Cellmates dropped. When if you don't know what Cellmates is, so it is by an artist that is called MC, and that artist has been pretty big. I've seen some big collection, like I've seen some big like works of his like sell for upwards of, I think, but like not completely sure. I think 10 ETH. That was like back in March. So they seem to have pretty much gone like a long way. And this project has been like in the working for a while. So it minted for 0.333, so like 0. Like a third of an Ethereum, and they've been trending strongly since because the buyer's demand and the artist had the buyers, like there's a lot of buyer's demand, and the artist is pretty well known. And right here at this point you can see that we saw an insane sweep. I remember seeing it, and the numbers were pretty much like you're seeing like 30, 40 like live sweeps going on the highest project on the trading time frame. You can already see a figure of 40 Ethereum on the 15-minute marker, which is pretty much incredible as far as you can, as far as the rest of the day has been going, because like as you can see, it is performing almost 80 times as well as the number two project trending on the 15-minute time frame. And if we look at the 12-hour right here, so let me mark that for you. If you cannot see right here, this is a 12-hour marker. So you can see, apart from like number of sales, there is cellmates here with almost 8,000 ETH in volume,
Teraz?
which is pretty high if you think about it. So sorry, did somebody like say something, or is this like a hot
No.
mic? Oh, Jacob, like you're hot mic, man.
Nie
Just
powiedz
like,
się o tym jechać.
yeah,
Nie zniszcząc tych po drodze tych kredek, jak wyślą. I no pytam się.
yo, Jacob, can you please
Bo
like?
jeżeli mają ci jebnąć te kredki, to może warto jechać po nie.
Oh, I just realized I have like server mute permissions. All right, we took care of that. Jacob, if you can hear this, this is you're basically hot micing, and I muted you, and you'll be unmuted after the session. Or like if you can request it in the chat, so I'll happily do so. So I'm getting back here and showing you this figure, which is pretty much the highest of the past day. If we check on the 24-hour time frame, let me switch between those two. Wait, I'm not sure that is the correct figure that we're looking for, but let me double check. So right here, 24 hours. Okay, that's what we're looking for. So in terms of yeah, so this board use AC thing is still like the reigner here in terms of numbers of sales, but Cellmates is pretty much the strongest around here. I would look around for other blue chip collections. So other deeds are doing 630 in volume, and other competitors, obviously KPR fell off strongly, not in terms of floor price as much as in volume, but this floor is a nice reclaim because I do recall them going below zero point 0.2. Obviously, our blocks doing typical volumes because like our blocks is basically what I think about and what you should think about when you're looking at NFTs because these are the fine art stuff that do not like slow down with bear markets. They will always have their collectors. That is how things have been through history. And yeah, so that is for that figure. So like no board apes on this list, although they pretty much they I'm pretty sure they have like higher volumes than at least like 90% of these shown here, but like in terms of sales, not so much. So let's get back into Cellmates, which has been going up pretty strongly today. So we're soon gonna get the trading view update in a more advanced form. But yeah, a lot of people were kind of concerned about like the freedom of movement on this chart. And a lot of people didn't even know that you could basically perfectly recenter the trading chart here. So like the dot chart for trades, just by like double clicking the chart. So like right here, I double click, boom, if I zoom in right here and take a look at those and like double click again, boom, I'm back. It basically recenters. If you're like lost in the chart, you can recenter right away without having to like these this like engineering type of like adjustments. And yeah, another key feature is one that I really like if you look at a 1 hour time frame. Now, like this is a little hard. This could be a little hard to visualize for some people. So you could drag the bar at the bottom and give it actual figures. So I was using it earlier today, not on the 1 hour time frame, but actually on the 4 hour time frame before things have more detail. So I kind of shrinked it like that, and without this part, so like right here, I think that was like 2 hours ago. Basically, I was checking this chart, and as you can see, you can obviously like drag it the other way. So it was pretty much flat. You should have had like good eyes in order like to establish the difference between points here, right? It was like pretty hard to digest. I was trying to show you like an example of how it looked. So yeah, something like that. It was even flatter, something along the lines of that. But obviously, yeah, it was pretty much flattened out, right? People would think that there isn't much difference between here and here, but that's an zero point 0.1 difference. You could play around with the chart however you like, and the trading view is coming with more features. And whenever if you ever mess up your chart, you can just like double click, get back into action. So right now, I'm not sure of an entry because Cellmates is still minting. Let me check the mint stat real quick. So Cellmates. No, no, this isn't the one that we're looking for. So yeah, they're still minting, or like I think they're now locked in, like waiting for like the public sale. I will give you all an update on that really soon. But yeah, hit me up with the questions. I'm checking the chat right now, and we have a message. Oh, it is irrelevant. So prolific. is saying that it is out of stock. So let me double check that. So cellmates Twitter. Basically, that's what we're looking for. MC cellmates. Because like I think Steel House is full. I was pretty sure that these were basically what do we call them? Yeah, I was pretty sure that these had a supply of 555. Okay, I'll show you how we can check that on the contract. So on Etherscan, we can go and we have a contract right now. We just like go right here and go to read contract. We can easily find the max supply. If they like not all the contracts like include it, but like fairly enough of them do. So royalty info, token URL, my profile name, folder, mint index. Yeah, that's in that case it's called the mint index. It's usually called max supply, max number, max something. But right here's mint index. So I think that you're correct, prolific. It has sold out. And that's most likely why I want to check when exactly they sell out because usually with strongly hyped collections, you can see some of those like bounces while it's still minting, but I would say that it sold out at right at this point, which caused this pump right here. Let us catch the last mint transaction. Go to starting records by like the hundreds and moving. So we'll just like keep going till we hit. Okay, this might take too long. Let me set it to like 20. Now we got like failed mint transactions. That means that we're close. I would say in the range of like 4 hours. When Cellmates also like tweeted, let's check that. So the tweet of it was basically a hint at the sellout. Steel hose is full. 7:13, that is almost 3 hours 10 minutes ago. So 3 hours 10 minutes ago, 7:13, that is around let us say yeah 19:15 I guess. Wait, I think there's something wrong with me. Oh, this isn't wrong. So I was a little off. So yeah, this is where the big pump happened. 19:15, this is where it sold out. This is the initial pump. Yeah, because it makes more sense than this one because when like sellout pumps usually involve a an exorbitant amount of volume, basically the highest volume of the bunch. Obviously, in these like two candles, like these are probably like outliers. Two people, like multiple people started like sweeping at this point. But if you can see here, the volume was pretty much like strong and consistent, and then like fell off, which caused a series of sellouts that recovered all the way till here. So I would check over the 12-hour marker here. So this is where it basically started. That is actually 3 hours ago. That is kind of confusing. I could recall seeing this like a couple of hours ago, but let's brush that off. So they pretty much like minted and sold out right away. And if you can see here, so this basically became a resistance point. Let me get out the drawing toolkit. So, oh, okay, the next time. So yeah, you can see right here. I'm just like gonna mark these points. So maybe just like have a circle in here, have like this is a resistance zone. This was a strong support point, and right here you can see an uptrend. Lower lows, keep establishing lower lows. I think that this gets broken. and basically falls off as soon as possible. Wait, I'm confused. What filter did I choose so that we have like four sales? Okay, I'll fix that in a second. But as we can see, this either breaks out or like breaks down. And I think it downtrends for a low. Usually when you're hitting what we're considering a major resistance, because that is where the initial pump, that's where like the initial sellout pump stopped. This is usually a point where we're looking, and basically this point basically designates itself as a historical, or like we shouldn't call it historical, yeah, we should call it like a major resistance, because this is where this sellout pump stopped. So if this breaks, there are a lot higher chances of this moving forward to other heights. So oh yeah, let me get off the TA chart here. So for at this point, we're just gonna judge by the cell walls. And I'm picking a figure that is pretty much relevant. But I'm not sure why. Let me refresh it. I'm not sure why the listing's kind of like, I probably like misclicked something because like I'm on my hands on the keyboard and all. Okay, this is weird. I'm not sure what that is, but let me get out back in a second. Hit me up with your questions until I get that fixed. So it's working right here. What is up with cellmates? Oh yeah, yeah, it's here. Somebody's out mic again. Loki Med, can you please mute? All right, so let's get back to this. Check the cell walls. That's where we are at, and the cell walls will be strong indicators of the next big resistance. So it will take quite a strong punch to break through that, to break through like the historical resistance, like the major resistance here. So judging from the numbers here, I think that with the number of sweeps that have been coming, and you can check the 1 hour sweep marker here. This is one of the new features of V2. You can see that there is basically an average of 4 sweeps every single minute. That is a purchase, a transaction that included a minimum of 2 NFTs. So if the bulls are strong, and I think the bulls could be pretty strong with this collection, main reason is because the NFT market has pretty much been slowing down. A lot of people have had basically what I call dry powder sitting, setting aside liquidity. They might want to put it into something that they think has the potential of moving, especially when it is the only, almost the only project making like moves in the market right now. So the momentum right here, it isn't hinting at it isn't like hinting at a bullish movement at all, but let's check for a threshold of zero point 0.8. That's basically the maximum price that we're looking for, in which we see all the action that is happening below. So we're seeing now the sales, listings, and undercuts all happening below zero point 0.8, and it's not looking like it's gonna break it anytime. So my call right here is a basically localization here, and then some sort of a localization, and then like a retrace to these points, right? With lower volume, obviously way overdue. We have to see low volumes even in collections like these. We might see a little like sort of mini recession here, where an entry, if you're planning on making an entry would definitely work in that zone. But it is, nevertheless, it is a good sign when a project of this magnitude just like re-hits its resistance, because most of the projects and like a vast majority of the NFTs we're looking at are not doing so by any means. They just like have the initial sellout pump, and then they have basically death wiggles, slowly dying and going to whatever like bottom they stay at. So let's check real quick. So basically, when I'm looking at projects, obviously I knew about MC Soulmates from before, but if you like see a project, if you spot a project through the trending chart, which we do a lot over at Champs Only, for example, I personally work there, so that is what I do. So I'm basically looking at the trending numbers, trending in terms of numbers of sales on the 15-minute marker. It is my favorite to use. And right here, I have a certain threshold above which I call a project above average, right? It differs from market to market. So I would say like 2 months ago, you would be looking at a chart like this and seeing sales that are way above this figure. So right here, you can see 68 sales per 15 minutes. You can see with the seriously trending projects, you can see them go to like 200 or 300. That is for this market. And the past market, so like I would call 2 to 3 months ago, a trigger for me to like develop actual interest and like start researching a project would be a sales figure of over 1000 in a 15-minute marker. Obviously now the bar is lower because the market is slower, and I would take a look at anything that is going above 300 if I didn't know about it already. And another thing I wanted to point out is a lot of people are using Dune to get like their OpenSea like monthly volume analytic type of thing. And I think since X2 Y2 basically surfaced, probably somewhere around like yeah, this exact point. So like May basically when X2 Y2 announced like the zero royalties and all, this is where OpenSea kind of fell off because traders love zero royalties. The traders would definitely love if they save 10% of the price of the NFT they're selling, and that is why OpenSea kind of died off. So the NFT market has obviously like cooled down significantly, but it is not as bad as depicted slash portrayed by the OpenSea monthly volume chart because it is no longer relevant. You have volumes over other markets as well. If you look at Blur, for example, Blur shows you truer volumes because they're all aggregated through all the markets. So I'm looking at BAYC right now, and it is telling me that the 1 day volume is 739.53. I can assure you that this figure is much, much smaller on OpenSea, for example, because OpenSea, oh, I think OpenSea like started adjusting, but like I'm not too sure if they did like filter in these stuff. So if they did, then that's good because like you can see on like back when KPR kind of launched, so they 577 to 739. So it is always bigger on Blur because Blur is aggregating these information. Other side 375 in the past 24 hours, and if you look at other side here 528, it's always bigger. The figures are always higher. Cellmates obviously has this contract though, so it is like built in its contract. The what do we call it? So it doesn't give permission to list on marketplaces that support zero royalties. That is that plays obviously a big part in the activity kind of sector. So if you remember KPR back when they launched, OpenSea showed a daily volume of like 1000 ETH, whilst on Blur it was shown to be like 7000 something alongside of that. That is why the Dune chart is no longer relevant of the state of the market, but only relevant of like the state of OpenSea. So I'll take through the questions real quick. If you have any questions, just like post them in the chat. I will get through with a list of projects that I would like you all to go through. So like basically for like reveal sniping, because that's what we do at Alpha Sharks. So I've been watching some projects lately, and some have caught my attention. Obviously, I think they have the attention of a lot of you guys here. But the first one is Doodoo Lab. So Doodoo Lab, it is this project by the big Chinese company called Baidu. Obviously, I wouldn't trust the technical analysis on this one too much. It hasn't been doing the best. It could be doing way better. But yeah, the market is kind of brutal and the listings keep increasing. This got like 16, over 16% of the supply listed. So I'm not looking for an entry, but what I'm looking for is obviously reveals. So Alpha Sharks, they support super fast reveals. Obviously, like I think we're the fastest in the market for a reveal sniping tool. And I've tested. I did reveal snipe only. I basically did it only once, but I watched like reveals with my own eyes. They usually happen like minutes before OpenSea does. And for the real sniping, I did it only once and like flipped in a matter of like 5 minutes. And it was some of the easiest money that I ever made. So I highly suggest that you check out Reveal Snipes. So right here, you can see like all of this could reveal out in a second. You just like click buy, get on this. So Doodoo Lab should be revealing in the next week. That's what they said, right? They didn't specify a date, which they're expected to do. So just like keep up with them. I'll send you like relevant links after we're done with this. And another one is what was the 1984? Oh yeah, I nailed it. I thought it was like some other date. So 1984, it is a low supply 1984 unit collection. Been pretty hyped, nice floor price, decent volume throughout the day. We're looking at 24-hour volumes off like 70. That isn't the best, but it is still existing volume, and volumes come back when reveals happen. So stay like keep your eyes on for this one. As for the reveal, I'm not sure of the reveal date, but it was hinted by 1984 that it is in like around 5 days. Yeah. So yeah, the other day, so yesterday it was 6, today it is 5. They keep hinting at it. That's probably the reveal date. So that's probably like the number of days left to reveal. They should surely announce sometime. We should be able to pick up some hints on that. So this one, if you can snipe good ones, this will probably be more than worth it, in my opinion. And let's move on to other projects. So a good one is Machina. So yeah, right here, Machina the Underground. They've been doing a little decent to say the least. 120 sales in the past day. Not the best, could be way better, but still works. So Machina was pretty hyped. Anybody that that is in this space for like over 5 months definitely heard of them. They launched, sold out, but they fell off strongly. Market conditions and lack of innovation, you name it. A lot of factors play into failed, and it is super easy to predict to short an NFT project. People could get rich if they could do that. So yeah, this one has pretty strong attention. They got a strong advisory board that I like. It is basically like I think Shan from Gojira, not 100%. Oh, no, it's not Shan. It is Takoa from Few and Inuarashi. This is like a big dev in the space. So they're backing this project, basically advisors. That's not what we're looking for. We're looking for the quick flip off of a snipe. So reveal for this one is okay. I wanted to point out that the art is pretty hyped for this one. So if it reveals to be a good art and you manage to snipe one, I think it could go on secondary for a lot. So this is going to reveal in 4 days on Friday to be precise. They did not specify the time. They said that the time will be announced soon, like well before the reveal, obviously. But yeah, keep an eye on this one. Relatively low supply. I think it could do well for a reveal snipe. So another one is Homa Gang Valentine's. So yeah, Homa Gang Valentine. This one has had pretty much incredible volume. So you can see it fell off strongly. So this like launched like 5 days ago, but it's still going at 11 ETH per day, which is relatively high for a collection of this floor price, especially when they launched like only 5 days ago. Like when they launched like 5 days ago, things usually like tend to fall off on the first 2 days. So they can only be traded on OpenSea. And even with that, like with that and like their massive royalty fee here, they're still trading at 11 ETH per like day so far. Obviously, these are pretty like disappointing volumes if you think about it, but in this market, this is actually pretty decent. So they launched, and the floor price was pretty high, somewhere. So I remember I actually remember selling one, minting and selling one. So it was a free mint, and it started at. So it's basically stopped here for like some technical issue, but I'm pretty sure that I sold it for somewhere like in the range of like 0.014, probably like outliers. I'll see what's the problem with that. Second. Oh yeah, somewhere around that range. It keeps like getting close to it. So this one is pretty hyped. It is by Homa Games, which is a big gaming studio, and yeah, like numbers are they obviously weren't like when I minted those and saw that they were at like 0.14 floor, I couldn't just like miss not selling them because anything at this price, especially a free mint in this market and this price, even if related to a brand, is pretty freaking overvalued to me. And I think I proved it right because now it is less than half the price I sold for. They are revealing, so they should be revealing in let me check it. Let me check, give me a second. So they didn't specify a time, right? But it is a new collection and it is a new collection and people are hyped for it because Homa is like this big studio, and when it's new, there obviously has to be revealed, and the reveal is coming soon. They said that it is TBA, so these are four projects that I suggest that you basically look at. So in terms of trades right now, I'll take another look at the chart because we'll be ending this soon. So trending. So nothing big going on so far. So no live trade, I guess, for today. But yeah, just keep an eye on these four projects. I'll send you the links and I'll get to the questions in a second. So looks like we have no questions for today. So let me show you one thing. A lot of people were, I'll show you that real quick. So a lot of people had this question about approving a mint, not approving a mint, approving an NFT for sale on a marketplace even before minting it. That one is actually pretty simple. So if I go to the Etherscan, which and basically like hop onto the contract of an NFT and go to write contract, basically connect my wallet, you have a set approval for all here, right? So you need to input the operator address. So when you're setting approval in here, that is a small tip. You're basically giving whatever address you type here access to that NFT. which in that case we want it to be the basically the address, the trader address for whatever marketplace that we're looking at. So to get that address, it is pretty simple. It is not the contract address for OpenSea, but for example, we might look at this one. So if I want to sell this, I just like go with full price, complete listing. It is going to ask me. So I don't think you can see the pop-up because like the recording and the live stream is basically focused on the Google browser. Let me check the recorder. Yeah, you cannot see it, but it popped and it's telling me that it's just like double checking whether or not I want to approve it, right? And then it shows an address below. You by granting and it says like by granting permission, you're allowing the following contract to access your funds. Let me screenshot that for you. Wait, I'll send the screenshot in the Educator chat. Okay. So wait. I copied it, but like, wait. Let's do that again. So, up right here. So the screenshot is up in the Educator chat. So I marked it with a red box. So this address here is the address that you want, right? So what I'm doing is I basically click on copy to clipboard. And now I have the address that I want to grant access to. So I just paste in that address and it differs from market to market. So if you're listing on Blur, you can do the same exact thing and the Blur approval address will pop on. You copy that approval address and basically like paste it in whichever collection you want to approve to that market. So that is beneficial for so many people because since a lot of people like can mint projects that are looking bearish, that look like they wouldn't make it, and that is the case with a lot of projects, but like the first 10 sales or so can be profitable and above floor, so people take advantage of those. And the approved rule thing, I think it's like basically like the number of NFTs that you like that you want approved, and then if I click like right here, it is going to show me that I'm giving access to like that I'm giving access to like any NFTs that I own from that contract to the address that I pasted in the set approval for all item here. So take that as a screenshot right below. So yeah, that is basically one of the tips that I wanted to hint at. So I'll give you guys 2 minutes before before we basically wrap this up. If you have any questions, just like hit them in the chats and we can call it a day. So I'm on the chat right now. Everything seems to be looking okay. Things seem to be looking good. I do not think that we have any more questions, so I will be sending the relevant material that I discussed, and perhaps if I have the time, like get the three approval addresses of the three marketplaces, OpenSea, X2, Y2, and Blur. But you shouldn't trust like any. You should like triple check that that is the correct address because a scammer could give you any address, an address of his own, and then you can approve that through contract. And now that scammer has access to your NFTs, and that is how a lot of those like wallet drains work. So they basically you're basically hopping on a website and clicking mint, but it's not actually mint. It shows you a set approval. Obviously, MetaMask shows a warning for that, but people tend to approve like their NFTs or like transfer and like controlled by a third party, basically. And like websites kind of formulate it so that when you connect your wallet, they find the contract address for the most valuable NFT in your wallet, and that is the one that gets approved when you sign such transactions. So stay as safe as you could. And I think that so there's a question from Hidden Degen saying that asking me if I know when collection offers will be live. I apologize, but I do not know that timestamp. I have no like precise knowledge of any of the upcoming update of the dates of any of the upcoming updates. So, but I just like know of the updates, right? The dates could obviously change, and that's why we don't usually like include those. And I like I don't get like any specific dates from the devs when they're like confident about it. Like you can tag them, so it's like K2 and Grab. You can tag them in here. If they're confident of a date, they will surely let you know. So yeah, thank you for your question and anytime, yeah. 1 minute and we'll be off. All right, I guess we're gonna call it a day for today. Thank you everybody for coming by. Be sure like to hang around. Like we got like some serious stuff rolling out soon. And you can catch me in other sessions that I do for like alpha checks in other servers. For example, lately the last one we did was with the Atama. And yeah, hit your questions anytime in the Educator chat. I'm always hanging around there. You can find me and ask me, and I'll be answering all your questions. Thank you for coming today, and I'll see you in the next one. So, yeah, have a great one, guys.